He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
When you calculated your purchase of this condo, you thought it would be, well, I'm going to get at least $2,400. Now it's down to say $2,150, and it's headed below $2,000. It's a phenomenal financial disaster. But you have a bigger unit in a better building that's at $1,650
with better management and no risk of getting evicted. So it is truly somewhere where you can rent and raise your family and not be worried about getting kicked out or having too small of a layout. So we think that adds to the defensiveness. Also, a lot of the uncertainty that I think is really unduly hitting our stock price, that might translate into people staying renting longer and not buying homes. In
that's
the
a
face
fact.
of uncertainty.
That's a fact.
Right.
I will do a shout out to the analysts who none of them are listening, but if they were, I would do that shout out. If you think there's going to be some sudden rush for people graduating from rent to purchase, we see no sign of it.
Yeah, you've got unemployment high and this tariff uncertainty, all these uncertainties that are playing in. Like I suspect that'll push more people or keep more people into the rental market. And, that's a big part of why we view multifamily as a counter-cyclical business, that especially when you come to what the vast majority of our portfolio is again, affordable family-sized units, right?
Which are because of this incredible boom in dog crate-sized units, it makes your properties more
right. The other point I'll make is, you were talking about some tough scenarios with rents pushing down further.
Sure.
I think that will only exacerbate, and whether that's true or not, we can debate it. I think there's a lot of trapped roommating that's going on and people living in situations that they never planned on living in the long term. And if rents do tick down, that might free them up and create some natural demand to offset the population. I don't know, but we do think there's some the same things that when population growth was moving really high up, throttled the demand. I think some of those will unwind on the way down, but what I'll also say is I think it exacerbates the housing crisis, because if you see a bit of softness in rents, construction costs are very high, and developers are a little bit more in defense mode than offense mode, what's going to happen when the non-permanent resident noise finishes in 2 years from now and you resume back? We're not going to go back to the north of 1 million people a year, but if you get to the normal 400,000, which is still a pretty elevated growth rate, 400,000 people coming and no development coming online, that's a good recipe for rising rents, right?
Well, even the low end of the spectrum is about 350. So we want to add 300. The government's committed to adding 350,000 permanent residents per year. That's down from the 550 numbers they were using. And of course they've kind of pushed all the student visas and the temporary visas aside, but there's catch up to do. But I'll fight you a bit. I'll fight you a bit on the roommating, because I believe that unemployment will get worse, and there's no fix to unemployment. There's no fix to unemployment. Particularly, it's going to get worse in the GTA for a couple of different reasons. First of all, we're going to have less construction every month. There's a tower completes, 2 towers complete, and that crew has got nothing to do anymore. There's no new towers. We both know that. Yeah. So I think there's going to be softness in construction. I think that in the face of, if the tariff threat continues for any length of time, even if it's 6 or 8 months, that there's going to be more unemployment in all sectors, because a lot of people don't realize it, but it's not just automotive, it's not just steel, it's not just aluminum. If a bank thinks their business is going to be down, they just lay people off quietly. Quietly, they lay people off, okay? That's the reality of every business. We've got 10,000 people, sorry, RioCan, but we got 10,000 people going to be out of work at the Bay. And it all adds up. My belief is that if people cannot afford rent, that I don't think roommating is going to actually decline. I think there's a possibility of increase in roommating. But to that point, you still have the better product. You see, to my mind, as a grown-ass man, old guy, I think in many cases product rules. Because the product that's coming on stream, the next 40,000 dog crate condos, are literally worse than ever. Like, they are worse layouts, smaller units, crappier buildings, you name it. Like, and hey, I'm talking to a guy, just spoke to somebody just last week who is committed to a 445 square foot unit for $960,000. Recon.
Wow.
Like, major mistake. Yes.
Wow.
Major error. He admits it. Great location, famous address, the whole 9 yards. But wow, that doesn't work. Okay. So will all of these sort of real estate disasters contribute to more depression in the economy? Not a depression, but depress the economy. So I think there's a potential for more roommating, not less, for more people going back home to live because they don't have any choice. Unemployment is the worst thing for an economist. Economists will tell you, yeah, it's the worst. Nothing's as bad as this. Runaway inflation, it's about, Weimar Republic inflation and high levels of unemployment. They're the two biggest problems we have as an economy.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.